Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review Dexter Resurrection, Season 1, Episode 3, Backseat Driver. To be honest, I watched this episode last night because I was just so excited and so looking forward to it. And so I apologize if it takes me a little bit to kind of remember, scene by scene, because that's why I don't like doing like recap style reviews, but it just kind of helps sometimes so that you guys can understand the context of what I'm saying a little bit more. And so just want to say that right off the bat. But overall, I not only thoroughly enjoyed this episode, I loved this episode. And in fact, it gave me like old school TV feeling, an old school TV like vibe, because the pacing is so perfect. Like it's not too fast, not too slow. It has the right amount of like, kind of stringing things out, but also, moving things along and making you want to see more and giving you enough like satisfaction in this one episode, because that's been a big problem with TV shows nowadays. And I said this in a comment that I just made like an hour ago. TV shows nowadays, they don't care if they satisfy you or not. So like Better Call Saul, for instance, that's a very problematic TV show, at least the second half, because it really went off the rails. But that show, in the first couple of seasons even, and then the later seasons, they have these episodes where basically nothing really happens the whole episode, and you're just supposed to kind of buy into it because you know that something's coming, that like a big climax is coming. And so it's like, and it's more realistic if something interesting doesn't happen all the time. Whereas honestly, what's really ironic is that people say that modern TV shows are better because there's less like slow stuff, there's less quote unquote filler. But it's funny because when I look back at like older shows, older TV shows, even in episodes where they slowed things down, they still had stuff happen. Like on the X-Files, there would be some really boring episodes. Like the Jersey Devil one was very, very weak. That was a really weak X-Files episode. But it still had some climactic moments throughout it, and it still felt like they wanted to give the audience something. They wanted the audience to be satisfied. Whereas nowadays they'll just have these episodes, they're boring. Nothing happens, and you're just supposed to like it, or else you don't like real art or something. And so that's why nowadays a lot of the times people fall off of TV shows, because they'll have these boring episodes and they don't want to make like a real TV show. And so to circle on back to Dexter, this episode, it felt like the payoff to the first two episodes. It felt like a really great like way of like just giving you stuff without really giving you everything, because they're teasing a lot of stuff in this episode. And by the way, I got one thing right so far. I got one prediction right. I remember the other two predictions, and those won't come until very, very later, if they come at all. But I got one of the predictions right, and that is, let's talk about the Angel Batista storyline for a second. I predicted that there would be a hit on Dexter's car because he gave it up in New York. And so then, it's New York! You get a car and you get a speeding ticket if you have the car for one day. And so someone else gets Dexter's car that he stole, and they got like a speeding ticket after one day. And so, right off the bat, Batista is notified that Dexter is in New York. And Batista's like, oh, shit, yeah. I'm going to head over there, and I'm totally not going to get killed. You know what Angel Batista's storyline reminds me of? It reminds me of fucking Dick Halloran in The Shining. Like he's just... I know that people... Because if you guys haven't seen my videos before, I have not seen the old Dexter show at all. So I still need to watch all that stuff. But I know that he's probably like a really badass character to a lot of people. But the vibe that I'm getting from the way that they treat his scenes, it reminds me so much of Halloran in The Shining. Where they just cut away to him every once in a while. And it's like, yeah, look, he's watching TV. He's got like a picture of a naked woman over his bed and shit. And it's like, oh no, I gotta go save Danny. And... like the rest of the movie, it's like just building up to him getting to Colorado again. And then he gets there. And ironically, he was from Florida too, Dick Halloran. But he shows up at the Overlook and he immediately gets killed. Like, that's what it feels like. I know it probably won't be like that. It'll be a lot more complicated than that. But that's just the vibe that I'm getting. It's really, really funny. But he also had a scene... His storyline was the shortest this episode. He had a scene where he was talking with these two other guys who I think probably were in the older show. And he was like, I'm going to go to New York and, when it all goes down, you guys will understand. And so there was like a tease there of like, oh, okay, he means business. He's not just going to play around. He's going to go there, and he's basically admitting that this is kind of like a suicide mission. Like that no matter what, he wants to bring down Dexter. And so it gave off kind of an epic feeling. Like I really like his character so far from what little I've seen of him. Even though I know he's going to die probably, because if he doesn't die, there won't be any more show. Because he'll kill Dexter, right? Or he'll take him in, and that'll be the end of it. So, but I really like that. And so now let's go over to Harrison's storyline. Harrison, he is still experiencing the Jesse Pinkman Breaking Bad Season 4 syndrome. And he's still really affected by the murder that he committed, and he's also trying to get into the pants of this fellow hotel worker who, he babysits her kid for her. And so they develop that relationship a little bit more. They go out on a date. He comes back to her apartment with her. And I really like that. I actually think that I like Harrison more this episode. And again, this kid would be perfect to play Spider-Man. I mean, he would be perfect. If I had to cast anyone as Spider-Man, I would cast this actor who plays Harrison, because he's great. And then I also really like the girl. I can't remember her name, so I feel bad I'm just calling her the girl. So I will call her the hot girl, because she is pretty hot. And so I hope that makes her feel a little bit better. But I really like their relationship. And I think that, again, she does kind of seem like a perfect victim for a later story, though. Like, it really does seem like she's the Andrea of Breaking Bad, to where... I can see her getting into danger, unfortunately. And so what ends up happening is Harrison, he does his interview, and he does terribly. I mean, he did have one really smart moment where, they just hammered him and basically just told him he's the killer. Or wait, no, that was a later scene in the episode. So sorry, I just jumped ahead. But he does 2 interviews this episode. But the first one, he's just like, I was last night, and this detective, she could see right through him. She knew that there was more to him, And so right after his terrible interview ends, she this is probably the most hilarious part of the whole episode. She did this kind of like method thing, that like Will Graham and Hannibal would do, where she put on headphones and she put on a Bee Gees Staying Alive at like max volume. And then she walked around and she's like trying to basically walk the killer's path and figure out what exactly he did. And it was just really funny because like she would ask these questions really loudly. She's like, "What time did this?" And then they would try to answer her, and she couldn't hear because she's got the music playing at max volume. And so it was funny because she's not so much of a girl boss that she can't look kind of dorky and weird. And so I like the fact that they played with that and they didn't just have it be where like, oh, she's so perfect and oh, she can hear just fine, she doesn't have to like, because they had to do sign language and they had to like gesture to her. And I just thought that was really funny. And at a certain point she had to just take her headphones off, and it was like, yeah, she is kind of a dork, she is kind of a weirdo. And so I like that. I thought that was cool because she's actually a pretty interesting character. Like, she's a good example of a good female character nowadays, to where she's not just some bland, boring, like, oh, I'm better than everyone stereotype. She's actually really interesting and layered and kind of in that way. But my favorite part of her storyline is she goes into the kitchen and she finds the exact table where Harrison butchered up the date rapist. And then she immediately looks up. Immediately. And there's no blood there anymore. And I thought, that really reminded me of like a video game. Like a Telltale video game where, you make the decision to clean up that little blood spot and then boom. It's like a secret like cutscene where like, oh, there could have been blood there and that would have been the end of Harrison. So I thought that was awesome. And then the one thing that I'll say, and I bet other people might say this too, is that she immediately goes outside to the garbage area and you'd think, okay, there's got to be a security camera there. Well, the security camera was covered in bird shit. And so that was kind of like a plot convenience thing, but it is pretty realistic because it's New York. It's New York! You got pigeons shitting all over security cameras, so I thought that was a little... But, they did what they had to do, so I thought that was funny. But then at the end of the episode, it's like, well, Harrison's alibi was he stayed over with a girl, some random girl that he never slept with, and so they confronted him about his alibi, and that's when the detective basically, she accused him of committing murder. And instead of just, breaking down, which I thought he was going to break down, and I really liked there was some suspense there of like, is he going to cave? Is he going to give in? But no, he doesn't. He holds it all in. He doesn't really put on a good poker face, but he holds it all in. And boom, he basically just told them, hey, like, the reason why you don't have a good alibi, you don't see me leaving the hotel, is because I live at the hotel. And that employee, she lets me stay in vacant rooms. And now here's the thing where I don't like her character. And obviously you're not meant to like her character a lot. She is supposed to be one of the villains of the season, to which there are like a lot now. But she has to talk to the love interest, Harrison's love interest, his potential love interest. And I thought that was kind of a dark moment because, Harrison had to use her for his alibi. And she had to basically, rat on her friend and her, potential lover. And what was really dark about it was that the detective, she promised that she wouldn't tell the hotel manager, but she did. She clearly did. And it's sad because there was a really funny moment where she was like, I am not here to enforce Penal Code 140.02. It's like, what the... Like, she is such a weirdo. She is so weird that she's just like, I'm not here to enforce Penal Code 140, blah, 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 And, but then she does. But then she tells the manager. And so now Harrison, he's going to have no place to sleep. He's homeless. And I just thought, that was pretty bad. Like, that was, like, really shitty of her. And then there was a little confrontation between Harrison and his potential girlfriend. And I don't know what else to call her because, like, they clearly are going to hook up eventually. She's just kind of working up to it because, she has a kid now, so she probably, doesn't want to, risk it all. Like, she said, like, she doesn't want to lose what she has now, what she's built up to have, so... I just thought that was kind of shitty. It was like Harrison's big, like, what do you call it? Like an ace up his sleeve. Like, oh, I'm homeless. Well, I live in the hotel. So, like, I thought, it was good that he got out of it, but it's sad that now he's homeless. Because who knows what's going to happen next. I am predicting. I know that I saw a trailer. He is going to meet up with Batista next episode, but that kind of has a couple of issues with it. Number one, Batista is probably going to figure out that Harrison killed that guy too. And so what problems are going to come from that? But number two, I predict that somehow he's going to run in with Dexter, his father, and, because he doesn't have any place to live now, so he's got to stay somewhere. So maybe Dexter will let him stay with him either in the backseat driver's apartment or in the, and we'll talk about that, or in his new apartment that's like a basement apartment. But either way, that's what I think is going to happen. Now, let's get to... Well, actually, no, let's get over with... okay, Uma Thurman, she goes over, like, dinner plans. There's going to be a big dinner with all these interesting people. And it turns out that she sent an invitation to the backseat driver, or I guess you call him the dark passenger, the fake dark passenger. And so... the meat and potatoes of this episode is Dexter hunting down the dark passenger. And first off, he is struggling to be an Uber driver. I mean, he is just... it's really funny. He's just totally clueless about it. He's just like, yeah, I'm driving you. Like, I'm doing my thing here. And, the guy's like, do you have a charger? My phone's almost out of battery. And he's like, am I supposed to? It's just, this is such a great situation to see him in. He's just so, like, clueless about what he's supposed to do. And so, of course, some of the episode is Blessing has to kind of help him become a better Uber car driver. And he gives him, like, this huge pack of shit just to have in his car to anticipate, like, every need of the customer. And so I really liked all that stuff. And I really liked the relationship between him and Blessing. I think that they have a great friendship, even though he said, like, he doesn't do friendships. And so I really actually like that a lot. And now here, let's talk about something. So he's still having kind of weaknesses, and he's still really sore. he's having trouble moving about from having the gunshot wound in his chest. The one thing I didn't like about this episode, and it's not that I don't like it, it's just that, again, it was very convenient. There was this part where Blessing's daughter happens to be an acupuncturist. And so she does acupuncture on Dexter, and it makes him feel completely better. And listen, I've never had acupuncture done before. I probably would not like that done to me at all, because it just looks scary as hell. But the fact that it just made him feel completely better, I was like, really? Really? Like, it was almost like a video game. You know, like, it reminds me a lot of GTA 5, if anyone's ever played that. There's parts of the game where Michael, the main character, he has to go home and he has to do yoga. And it's like, oh, the yoga, it makes him feel better. Right? Immediately, it's just, oh, he's better now. He did yoga. He's stretched up. Here, I'm doing yoga right now. Oh, wouldn't that be interesting? Nobody's ever done that before. Yoga reviews. So you have to do challenging yoga positions while you do a movie review. Okay, I'm doing it. I've got one leg out, and I've got my arm stretched. I'm going to do this for the rest of the video. So, anyways, Dexter breaks into the backseat driver's apartment, the dark passenger's apartment, after he learns that he had a background check done on him. And so he does a background check on the dark passenger. He breaks in. And this is something that actually the trailer kind of tricked you, because in the trailer, there was a shot, and I'm almost about to fall over. Okay, and there's the shot where he is sitting in this guy's apartment, and he has like a gaming chair and a gaming like computer. Oh, okay, I fell. Okay, that's over. I'm actually really good at balance, believe it or not. I could probably beat Dexter in a balance off. So anyways, he's sitting in this chair, and he's got like these sunglasses and this hoodie on. And he looks like a gamer. And so a lot of fans thought that he was going to like disguise himself as a video gamer so that he could like kill some serial killer video game player. And so I just like the fact that that was a total trick. There's never any point where he's going to do that in the show. It's the backseat driver's apartment, and he discovers his trophies of his victims, which is like a book of all of these different driver's licenses, and I thought that was really sad. And by the way, Dexter had a lot of iconic lines throughout this episode. He had like let's see, I'm trying to think. The doctor's in. Nobody likes backseat drivers. Only in New York. You know, he had some really, really good one-liners this episode. Probably almost every 10 minutes. So that was awesome. But he finds out where the dark passenger is going to be next, so that he can pick him up and trap him. And this is where the episode gets fun. So first off, Blessing was doing some repair on the apartment, the house, and he was using this metal sheet thing. And you wondered how that was going to come into play, because it sort of seemed like something that they showed purposefully. And this is what I'm saying, by the way. In the first episode, the way that Blessing looked at Dexter, you can tell that he might figure out he's a killer later on. It's because they show like these purposeful shots to where they want you to remember these moments. And so he picks up the killer, and he has this needle with some stuff to knock him out, and he drops it. And so herein comes suspense. the dark passenger gets in the car, and, he finally traps him in his car, but he has dropped the drugging syringe. And I thought, you know what? This is a great masterclass in suspense. This is how you do suspense. Because you know that, number one, this guy's a killer. The backseat driver, he is a killer. He is going to kill you within minutes of getting in the car with you. He is evil as hell. And number two, you know that Dexter dropped the needle with the drug in it. And so what that does is you tell the audience these major things, and then you kind of do something to cause a struggle, and there's suspense there because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if this person is going to live or die. And of course, you do kind of know that Dexter is going to make it out of this. But for a second, it's like, uh-oh. And they didn't even tell you another thing. They had a little surprise. I really liked, by the way, Dexter wears a turtleneck. And he did that on purpose. But then he is getting strangled with I think they call it a garrote. And it turns out that he took that metal sheeting and he put it inside his turtleneck so that the garrote wouldn't affect him at all. And so he fucks that driver shit up, and he's like, oh, psh, it takes just a couple of seconds for him to just do bam, 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 psh, and boom, he knocked that guy out. And this is my first ever Dexter kill that I've seen on screen. Seeing him wake up the backseat driver killer. That's just what I'm going to call him. And he learns his sob story. He learns that, his dad was a taxi driver, and he almost earned his taxi driver medallion. I don't know what that is. But then Uber car drivers came in. And they made it to where, taxi drivers, they aren't very popular anymore. And so then he killed himself, and then he got his head chopped off coincidentally, just accidentally. And so that's why he does what he does. And I really like how Dexter, he takes a moment to tell a killer, you're really fucked up. You've done terrible things. All your reasoning is completely bullshit. None of these drivers did anything to your father. And it was a really satisfying moment, honestly. It was a really satisfying scene. And, he just stabs him once. And that was the part that surprised me, because I thought maybe he would torture him. And so I would like to ask if anyone knows, does Dexter ever torture people? It doesn't seem like he takes pleasure in, torturing. It doesn't seem like, he'd like to, pull this guy's teeth out and, gouge out his eyeballs or something. But does he ever torture people? Because, this is the first kill that I've seen. He just did the one stab, and he took him out completely. And, yeah. So that was really satisfying. I love that, of course. I love the whole Dexter storyline with killing the dark passenger. And then, this is the point where things get interesting. He finds the invitation to go to this dinner, and he decides he's going to impersonate the dark passenger so that he can see what this is all about and infiltrate this secret society. But when he's dumping the guy's body, he remembers that he needs a fingerprint and so to get into this party. So he's got to dig out this guy's hand from this furnace that he's burning the body parts in. And he's got to chop off a finger. That was honestly my favorite part of the whole episode, because I just thought that was like a Hitchcock moment. That was like something that Hitchcock would do. He did that a lot with, you can't just kill someone and it's really, really easy. You kill someone and then there's all these other problems that come from that. Like, there's this really, probably my favorite Hitchcock movie is Frenzy, which I think if you like Dexter, you would probably like the movie Frenzy. There's this part where the killer, he killed a very crucial character in the movie, and he remembers that she has something of his that if they found it on her, it would completely give away who he was. And so her body is inside of a potato truck, and he has to get inside the potato truck and try to get this thing out of her hands. And it's like a sharp needle, and it's just really, it's really, really hard and intense because her body is in rigor mortis, and so it's stuck in her hands, and it's really, really intense to watch because you do not know. He eventually has to, like, break her fingers and break her arm and everything, and it's such a great suspenseful scene, and I just thought it was very funny and also kind of, a little bit suspenseful. He had to get that thumb. He had to chop off a thumb. And so that's how the episode ends. And yeah, this episode was amazing. I loved it. I would give it an A+, even though I did have the one issue with it. I really enjoy this show. I love all the characters, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I do not have any major problems. It's so refreshing to have, like, a TV show that you can look forward to and be like, yeah, I know that that's going to be really good. And it has an old school feel to it, too. It doesn't feel like a modern TV show. At least not yet. Maybe it'll have a little something here and there that'll kind of make you go, ugh. But so far, nothing really bothers me. And so I would highly recommend this show if for some reason you watch this review the whole way through and you haven't seen the show. I would highly recommend it. Even if you haven't seen the old show, it really isn't hard to get into. And yeah, so please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of this episode. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest Dexter reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.